We're swarming the Stormcast and swinging holy hammers. That's right, it's the Age of Sigmar beginner set from Games Workshop. In this introduction to Age of Sigmar, players take on the role of fearsome faction leaders, either the mighty superhuman Stormcast Eternals or the mutant ratmen known as the Skaven. The beginner set features 3 tutorial scenarios meant to teach players the basics of the basics. If you're familiar with Sigmar, this is going to be old news to you, but you can use this set and this video to teach your friends and get them into the game, especially if they're unfamiliar with wargaming, but very interested in the many miniatures. Setup begins with miniature assembly. Follow the instructions starting on page 2 of the handbook. Simply find the piece's number, remove it from the frame, push it together with another piece, and then admire your handiwork. Good job. In the first battle of the handbook, known as Hammer and Claw, players learn the main fighting mechanics of the game. Set the battle map in the center of the table, place 1 Liberator in the central circle, and 3 Skaven clan rats surrounding him. Place them close enough that their model bases touch. Ooh. Starting with the Stormcast player, each will take a turn rolling for their model to fight. The Liberator has an attack value of 2 and thus rolls 2 dice. Each die is calculated separately and they hit on a result of 3 or more. Results of 2 or less are misses. After calculating the hits, the Skaven player makes a save roll, rolling 1 die for each hit. On a result of 6 or more, that hit is cancelled. For each hit that succeeds, the Skaven player removes 1 clan rat from the battlefield. Next, the Skaven player takes a turn. They roll 1 die for each surviving clan rat and hit on a 4 or more. The Liberator rolls a save roll for each hit, canceling them on a 3 or more. They got some beefy armor and not to mention the massive shield. Did you see it? If a single hit makes it through, the Liberator is slain. Alternate turns until one team is eliminated and the other is declared the winner. Super easy, right? Next, we'll add in abilities and movement. Most movement is measured in inches, and models have different movement values. 5 inches for Liberators and 6 for Skaven, because they scurry. Use the transparent ruler to measure model movement on the board. During the next tutorial, models will make a move each turn, either a normal move or a run. Normal moves allow a model to move their standard distance, provided they do not move within 3 inches of another model. This 3-inch aura is known as a combat range, and models cannot finish a normal move or a run within an enemy's combat range. Run is the same thing, but before moving, the player rolls a d6 and moves up to its move value plus the roll result in inches. If 2 enemies are within each other's combat range, they are in combat. If a player wishes to move a model in combat, they must first roll a die. If they roll a 5 or higher, the model is slain as their foe cuts them down. In addition to the 2 movement options, models can also charge and fight. Fighting you already learned about, but note that the clan rats should swarm a Liberator if they can, and they may combine all the attacks onto 1 roll to hit at the same time, optimizing their ability to get a hit on that Liberator. This is known as the Swarming Skaven ability. Also note, the fight ability can be used on every turn, including your opponent's turn. A model can only be chosen to fight once per turn. The charge ability is used after a normal movement and allows a model to enter the combat range of another model. Choose a model who hasn't run this turn and make a charge roll of 2d6 and add the results together. The model moves up to the roll result and must end within 1/2 an inch of an enemy model. If they cannot, the charge fails and the model does not move. In the second battle, Border Skirmish, set 2 Liberators on one side circle and a third on the nearby circle. Place 4 Skaven clan rats on each of the other 3 circles. Skaven take the first turn in this battle and may activate each model one at a time, using them to either normal move or run, and then opt to charge and fight. Turns alternate from there. The circles on the map are known as objectives, and if a player has more models on an objective than their opponent at the end of their turn, they control it. At the end of a player's turn, give them 1 point if they control at least one objective, 1 more point for 2 or more objectives, and 1 more point for controlling more objectives than their opponent. This means the player can gain up to 3 points on their turn. Play 4 turns total for each player, and the player with the most points at the end wins. In the third tutorial, War Unbound, flip the battle map and set up the models on opposing sides, 5 Liberators and 10 Clan Rats, and leave the central circle empty. Play 4 turns each, and the player with the highest score wins. In addition to all the mechanics introduced thus far, models can use a special ability after their fight abilities, but before scoring objectives. Both players use these abilities on every turn, not just on their own. The Stormcast Eternals have the Lay Low the Tyrants special ability, which allows them to roll a die for each Liberator standing on an objective. For each result of 5 or higher, slay 1 Clan Rat in combat with that Liberator. The Skaven have Seething Swarm, allowing them to deploy another Clan Rat onto the battlefield anywhere within 6 inches of the board's edge and not in combat with any enemies. And that's the basics of the battles! In addition to these scenarios, the game comes with 3 challenge modes, each offering a new twist on the battle. Vermintide removes the Seething Swarm ability from the Skaven, but they instead may deploy 20 Clan Rats on the battle map. Places of Power adds a step at the beginning of a player's turn. They roll a die and gain a victory point if they control the listed objective on the matching table. Rolls of 6 mean re-roll. And Defense of Civilization is a simple but challenging twist. If an objective is empty of any models, the Stormcast player counts as controlling it. This forces the Skaven to spread out, and the Stormcast must rely on careful timing to stop their approach. Additionally, if you'd like to paint your miniatures, visit the Age of Sigmar website in the description below for guidance on bringing the figures to life. And that's the basics of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Beginner Set. I'm Becca Scott, this is Good Time Society, and you better get into this hobby, it's everywhere. Remember to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and come on back for more great games and good times. Bye-bye.